Hey guys, this is Woodrow from Corrosion of Conformity, and you're blowing it up on Capital Chaos TV.
All right, this is Zoran Theodoros of Capital Chaos TV, and I have, is it Woodrow? I got Woody Weatherman of of Corrosion of Conformity on the phone. It is very early in the morning for both of us. Is that right?
That's right. But I tell you what, man, I answer to all kind of names, man. Woodrow, Woody, Butthead, whatever you want to call me, man. I'm cool with it.
What kind of juvenile derogatory nicknames have you grown up with?
Derogatory nicknames?
Well,
there was always a couple, man.
Always, when we were kids, we were sort of cruel, and even as adults, we're sort of cruel, but in a more of a humane way.
That's right, man. Hopefully, most of us grow out of it. I'm still working on it.
Were you picked on much as a child, or were you a bully?
Oh man, I was not a bully, and luckily I really wasn't picked on, man. I just kind of did my own thing and sort of skirted the whole issue, man. That would suck if I'd have been a bully, man, because there was a couple of them running around school, and sometimes they got their wish and got their butt kicked, But luckily I sort of skirted that whole deal.
And were you sporty, or were you more of a stoner?
What do you think? I mean, man, back then it wasn't really so much of that. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't a big sports guy or anything. I mean, when I was a kid, whatever, man. I wasn't like smoking weed when I was 12 or anything. But I would say I probably leaned more toward the stoner end of things.
Huh. So you were one of those antisocial types. That at least that's what they called us back in the day.
Man, we're talking a long time ago, man.
Yeah. You were born like 1 year. I was born in 50. No, you were born in 55. Is that right? No, 65.
That's right.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. Okay, sorry.
It was a long time ago, man.
Speaking of a long time ago, I saw you at the farm, and I saw you at the farm in San Francisco, and I thought you did a Ramones song. I thought, if I remember correctly, you did "I Just Want to Have Something to Do" by the Ramones. Do you remember that to be accurate?
Did you say the farm in San Francisco?
Yes. That was also a long time ago.
That was a very long time ago. We used to do a couple of Ramones songs for fun every once in a while. We might have done that one, and we might have done Sheena is a Punk Rocker. I know that we did it a couple times just for fun, but I can't recall that exact show. Man, we did the farm a couple of times. And
okay.
Man, that was a long time ago, man. I remember one time we started a tour. We loaded up the van and drove all the way across the entire continent, and our first show was at the farm in San Francisco. That was as far as you can go across the continent, man. So we used to do that kind of crazy stuff when we were young.
Yeah, logistics be damned, right?
That's right, man. Can't do it anymore, man. Too old to do that kind of thing. I still make the rounds, man, but I'm not going to jump in a van and drive 3,000 miles and play the first show.
Which one of you guys is responsible for booking that kind of nightmare scenario?
Oh, right, yeah, man, I know, man. We might have to talk to Reed about that one. He used to handle some of the bookings, but man, whenever we were coming out and just getting started, we'd take whatever we could get, man. We just wanted to be on the road. We were happy to do it.
Oh, right, absolutely. I've known many bands that, the logistics was insane, but not actually open for a bigger band by driving 500 miles out of your way and sell more T-shirts.
Right. Yeah, as long as you got the gas money, man, you were ready to go.
Absolutely. And stepping into an earlier past, I believe in '99, you toured with Iron Maiden and Testament. Was that right? Does that sound about right?
I think it was the Fear of the Dark tour, and so I want to say it was like '93 maybe. But yeah, we did a pretty nice little U.S. run with Maiden, and of course Testament guys. I think it was a couple months, playing those sheds, the outdoor sheds and stuff. It was a fun tour for us.
Was that your first big arena tour in America?
I would say yeah. Yep, it was.
And did it meet your expectations, or did it fail to live up to your expectations? Or?
It was a blast, man. And most of the gigs, if I remember correctly, on that tour were like it was a summertime tour, so they were a lot of the stuff was at those outdoor, the sheds or whatever they want to call them, the outdoor thing. So it was a trip, man.
And it was during the grunge era. It was as far as the big media type thing, the grunge era was in full swing, and your band wasn't really quite that removed from that kind of music, even though you were part of the hardcore metal scene. You weren't really that far removed from, say, Soundgarden or Alice in Chains.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
I do agree with that, and as a matter of fact, we sort of had the sort of luxury of being able to tour with, Soundgarden and bands like that, and at the same time, we could pick up and hit the road with Megadeth or Iron Maiden or something. So we were always kind of that sort of in between. We sort of trying to defy the genres. We would be able to tour with Metallica, but yet we would do trips with the Ramones, or Black Flag. It was like that was always sort of our thing. We tried to be a little flexible in that, and not really get cornered up into any one category.
What album would you say was the one that you really found Corrosion of Conformity really found itself?
There's like different periods of the band. Like whenever we first started out, we were kids, and we were sort of our big heroes were not only Black Sabbath and some of the heavier bands, Motorhead, but we also were big fans of like Bad Brains and Black Flag and DOA from Canada and all this stuff, and we just tried to combine it all. And I don't know where we found ourselves really. I mean, I think we took a big leap with the Blind album. 1991 was when that came out, and I think that sort of steered us in the direction that we took in the future, and followed it up with the Deliverance album and then Wise Blood. And, it's hard to say where I think we're still searching for our ground, man. We're still trying to move forward. So that's a tough question, man.
And Vote with a Bullet, that's a political song to some degree. Is that right?
The which one?
Vote with a Bullet.
Oh, Vote with a Bullet is on the Blind album. Yeah, that's true, yeah.
You haven't really dabbled in politics via the band since then, have you?
I think we really have. I think it's a little less pointed. But between Mike Dean and Pepper, they handle the majority of the lyrics, of course, and I think they're both pretty good at getting their point across without being too specific.
That's great. It's great to be able to do that. You can always deny it.
Yeah, it's open to interpretation.
10 albums, 36 years. Does that sound right?
That's pretty close, man. We cranked up in 1982, so 36, 37 years. 10 albums sounds about right. I lost count, man. Somewhere in there. It depends on if you include like I guess EPs and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty close, man.
And how stoked are you to be finally headlining for No Cross, No Crown?
Oh man, we are flabbergasted with it, man. It's like we spent a lot of 2018 after the album came out. We did some headlining dates, but we spent a lot of time out with other bands. We spent several months out with Zach and the Black Label guys, and a few other things here and there. Of course, some festivals over in Europe, and a few dates with Clutch here and there. So this is our first real full tour, being able to go out and play a full set, give the full 90-minute treatment to everything. It's kind of, only thing about it is we got so much material, it kind of gets difficult working up set lists. We do. I think we're going to have some variables, switch songs out on this tour a lot.
And are you playing songs that, like, how do you go about picking songs to play? I mean, are there songs that you definitely have to play? Like your Paranoids or your Iron Man that you can't leave the building without playing? Or do you often say, look, we're not playing that, I'm sick of it, I'm done with it, let's play the beat?
Right, the deep cuts, yeah. It's a little bit of both. I think there's probably 2 or 3 that if we didn't play, there'd probably be, some folks that would be pissed, I don't know if they really are Paranoids or whatever, but, you mentioned Vote with a Bullet. We usually try to play that and, get a little Clean My Wounds in there and Albatross. And then the rest of it, we sort of float around. We do a lot of deep cuts, and we try to reach back and do stuff from, way on back, and occasionally we'll do little nods to, back in the Animosity days, we'll do little intros and stuff like that. And so it just, on a headline show, like we're getting ready to, kick off here in about a week or two, we're going to be able to play with that a little bit more because it's, get a few more deep cuts, some stuff off In the Arms of God, and get some of the new stuff out there. People are asking for some of the new stuff, which is cool. It's nice to put out new material, and that's what people are asking for. So it's a good place to be.
Do you anticipate doing any jamming with on stage appearances with some of the opening bands such as Crowbar or Weedeater? Does that kind of stuff go on much?
It does. It does every once in a while. And I predict Kirk Weinstein will probably wind up on stage a time or two, and we'll probably get into some riffs. And the Mothership guys, we've had the pleasure of bringing them out several times on the road with us. So we do a little bit of jamming. Yeah, it's fun, and I think the audience appreciates that sort of off the cuff type of stuff too.
Do you still like, do you hear something that sticks in your head and never still pick up your guitar and learn it?
Every once in a while.
What was the last thing that was stuck in your brain that you just really had to get out onto your guitar?
Right. Man, there's let us see the last thing, man. Probably like a Gibbons riff. Like you wake up with a Billy Gibbons riff in your head, and you're like, oh shit, how does he do that, man? Of course, most of that stuff's just pretty much blues based, and it's just in his fingers. But man, I like a lot of the Texas guitar players. Johnny Winter, Stevie Ray, all that stuff. That stuff. It's not so much the technicality of it; it's just the feel. Some of the nasty tones. Some of those guys just had brutal tones, man. For like blues guys and stuff. I mean, just nasty, damn, distorted as hell, kick-ass tones. You're like, whoa, crazy. That's heavy.
Have you used YouTube to learn anything? Often if I can't figure it out by ear and I don't read, I can just go to YouTube and punch in how to play Paranoid bass.
Right. I've never done that. I probably, if I was going to do that, it would probably be like for one of our long lost songs that we never, haven't played in a while or something. I might go on YouTube and go like, what key is this song? I don't know. I'm not that. Yeah, I've had to do that time or two. But to be honest with you, man, I'm not that big on learning covers and stuff. I mean, I know that we've been known to do a cover or two, with the band, but usually just by ear. If I got to learn something, I just figure it out.
How many SDs do you own, and what is it about them that you love so much?
I'm not a giant collector, man. I've probably got about 5 Gibsons and probably about the same amount of ESPs, I'm not a giant collector. I get a couple that I like and just stick with it, I've got a couple of that are my favorites that I bring on the road with me all the time, and they're They're actually ESPs, but they have the look of a Gibson SG, you know, and sort of the feel. And those are the ones that stay in tune for me. You know, I like to beat the hell out of the guitar, so those guys did a good job making some guitars for me that stay in tune. And so those are the ones I mostly use.
And do you play? Did you originally play an SG because Tony Iommi played one? Is that how
pretty
you
much.
got into?
Yeah, pretty much. Between him and Angus, that was, you know, what else do you need to know? You know. But yeah, it was pretty much Iommi and just the look of the guitar. And Angus, you know, I think that's probably between those two guys. Those are probably the reasons most people play an SG.
I think so. I think Jack Bruce used to play a bass, but that's a whole
SG bass. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, they're not quite as good as guitars for sure. Is the political climate in America today any different than it's been ever in your lifetime?
Man, you know, I think it stays pretty constant. People just stay pissed off at each other.
Right.
You know? I think it's kind of always been that way. Sometimes it seems worse than other times, but you know, I mean, it is what it is. People have different ideas about how they want things done and how they want the country to operate. And I think that's one thing that sort of you know keeps the country together is the fact that everybody's sort of slightly different and slightly apart, and it kind of spurs some debate and makes people talk. And somehow or another, we always wind up getting it done, though. I don't know how, but you know, I think people just stay pissed off with each other all the time, and kind of that's just the way it goes, man.
You've been working with John Custer since Blind. How did you first hook up with John?
He is a Raleigh guy, you know, and of course the band was there in Raleigh, and he was just around town, you know. He was like a dude that was around, and somehow or another we got together and clicked, and we decided to go make the Blind album, and we've made every record together ever since then, you know, including the new one, you know, No Cross, No Crown. We just, he's one of those guys that doesn't really get on our rear ends about the actual songwriting. You know, sometimes he has ideas and stuff, but he's more like the guy that comes in and helps us turn it into what it winds up being on tape, you know. And he's a wizard, you know. He really is, man. He's a phenomenal player, you know, guitar, bass, all that stuff. He can even sit behind the drums and tear it up, you know. So he's a good guy to have in the studio when you're working.
And are you multi-talented like that? Do you play drums or piano or flute?
Not really, man. I mean, I can get behind a kick and a snare and keep a beat and hit a cymbal every once in a while, but nah. I mean, I'm pretty much the string guy. I can hang with the guitar a little bit, and if I have to pluck on a bass, I can do that, but I'll leave the pianos and the drums to other people.
And you said you don't have such a big collection, do you, of musical instruments, but do you have you been a record collector much in your life? Do you have a vast?
I do. I wouldn't call it vast, but I do have a vinyl collection going back to, you know, whenever that was all there was to buy. You know, other than a cassette, you know. But yeah, I do have a rather, you know, a modest vinyl collection, and I add to it here and there every once in a while. You know, so I've got a lot of the old stuff on vinyl that I was a freak about, you know, early Slayer records, or, you know, Motorhead, or, you know, Sabbath, Zeppelin, all that stuff.
Mine are all scratched up because I listened to them and warped because, I don't know, who knew what was going to be a collector's item, or I don't know. Do you have any in your collection that are, you know, like a prized possession of yours that you touch very, very seldomly, and you know, you pull out like a old bottle of wine or
Yeah, I've got a couple things like that, man. I've got some really old pressings of like some of the early Sabbath records, man. Like, I've got a really old Master of Reality. I think it's on Vertigo. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's rare or not, but it's old to me. It's like early stuff that I had, and some early Aerosmith records that I got when I was a kid, stuff like that. I've got a few things like that laying around. The first 2 or 3 ZZ Top records on vinyl before they remixed them for the 6-pack sound completely different on vinyl.
Oh wow,
the original stuff. So I got all that kind of stuff.
What about Corrosion of Conformity collectibles? Do you?
Yeah, I do. I've got all that stuff.
So you have all the different formats of all of your albums?
I do. Yeah. Going on back to the first album that we put out ourselves, there was an album called Eye for an Eye, and the very first pressing that we did, we just did 1,000 of them, and then we did another 1,000, a little while after that. But yeah, I've got some of that old stuff that. It's still hanging around. We had our own little label back then called No Core Records, and we used to I think that was pretty funny. I guess it was kind of a take on North Carolina, but whatever it was.
You got the tour coming up. You go leaving the confines of your home in North Carolina to go hang out with the guys, and it's about a month tour. Does that wrap it up for this cycle? Or
no, not at all, man.
Okay.
Man, the record's strong, so we've got stuff planned all the way through 2019, man. A lot of it's not announced yet, but all different things, man. Got to go back to Europe, and there'll be more U.S. stuff. So we've got another. We're going to support the record, We're going to be out here for a minute or two, so
the wheels
cranking it up again.
Till the wheels fall off of it, right?
Till the wheels fall off. That's right, buddy.
What's the one album that epitomizes your style of music above all others?
Wow, that's going to be a tough one, man. I mean, we're such a mix of things, but I mean, everybody always goes back to Sabbath, so I don't know, man. I would say maybe Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. That particular record was a giant influence on me, so I think I probably borrow a lot of Tony Iommi style, or try to anyway.
Absolutely.